welcome to another lesson. I'm Bree and I'm here to teach you how to play ukulele. We're now going to learn a little bit about finger picking patterns and apply it to what we've already learned. Alright, in finger picking, we call our strumming or picking hand finger names thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Just like our fretting hand. Now in guitar, you'd often use all 5 fingers, but in ukulele we only have 4 strings, so most commonly you're only going to use your thumb, first, second and third fingers. I love finger picking patterns because, like strumming patterns, you can get really creative. At the moment you can choose if you just want to use your thumb across all strings. I do encourage you in time to practice using all 4, thumb, first, second, third, because each string can then have its own finger that has its own string, which means you don't need to look when playing finger picking patterns. I'm going to show you some finger picking patterns over here, and I'm just going to be using open strings to show you the order of the strings, trying not to overcomplicate things. We then just use this same pattern no matter which chords we're playing. So let's start with pattern number 1 and just get used to picking from our nose to our toes. G string, C string, E string, A string. But we're going to do it to a pulse. They should be nice and soft. Again, remember that you want to focus on your strings vibrating up and down, not out and in. You don't need to get right in behind your strings and flick them. Just nice, gentle stroke, which is called a rest stroke. Once you're comfortable with this, choose a song you've already learned and see if, rather than a strumming pattern, you can pick your strings. We're going to try Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You'll sometimes also see chord charts written like this, where there's a little dash after each chord indicating the rhythm, so the beat. C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, C, 4. This can help with picking or strumming patterns. So once you've got the hang of doing this nice and slow, see if you can do it twice as fast. So we spoke about in our strumming lesson 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's what we want to aim for. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're fitting this pattern twice into a bar. So for Twinkle Twinkle, the very first bar, C, we would play that twice. Twinkle, twinkle. You move on to F, which is only for half a bar, so I'd play it once. Little. Back to C, again once from your nose to your toes. Star. We repeat F and C. How I wonder. G7. What you are. I'll play this for the entire song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And notice how I had a little strum on the end? So that's another option. You can strum and pick, do a combination of each. You might have heard that for one of those C's, I actually started getting a bit creative. I went off our nose to toes because usually I just kind of make up patterns as we go. So you can choose to play your strings in any order. So let's try G string, E string, C string, A string. This is more difficult because you're trying to think about which order to put which string. So I do recommend just trying this by itself or just choosing one chord. So that row, row, row your boat could be good to practice again. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. You can choose to pick your strings in any order. For now, I recommend keeping it in groups of 4 so that you fit 8 notes in total in a bar, but just repeat those 4 over again, not to overcomplicate it yet. However, if you do want to take it that one step further, you might choose to pluck 2 strings at a time. For example, you might play the outside strings, then E, C, E. And just repeating that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and can you see how I've designated a finger to each string? So I don't need to look where my fingers are going anymore. If I had just been using my thumb as well, I wouldn't be able to pluck 2 strings at once. So this is why, again, I like using my 4 fingers. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Nearly forgot to change chords there. I'm going to show you something you can work towards with Hush Little Baby. So I'm going to strum, and I'm going to leave some rests, or spaces in there, but you'll hear it's a repeating pattern. Hush little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. If that mockingbird don't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. So that's something you can work towards. But for now, as I said, focus on what you're ready for, and you know that you can open up a world of opportunities with finger picking patterns and get really creative. It's a really beautiful thing to learn. I really hope you enjoyed learning about finger picking, and join us again in our next lesson where we'll be learning 3 new chords.